Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kidquake. My name is Christina, and I'm a librarian here at San Francisco Public Library, and I am so excited that you're here with us today. If you're like me, you love reading, and you love hearing from people who write and illustrate the books that you love to read. Woohoo! Well,
Yeah.
today you will meet some wonderful, talented writers and artists, and I want to get us started with our guest, Winsome Bingham. Winsome Bingham, yep, she's here with us today. Grew up sitting under mango and coconut trees, listening to her granny tell stories. Have you ever heard stories from your own granny? I hope so. Now she gets to sit down and tell you stories. Winsome is a soul food connoisseur. Ooh, that's a good word. Let's see how many of you know what connoisseur means. She's also a master cook and a U.S. Army War and Disabled veteran. We thank Winsome for her service. She also received both bachelor's and master's degrees in education and has more than 15 years of teaching experience. Many days she sits on her deck waiting with her camera to capture a submarine shooting out of the water. What? We have to find out more about that. Her book, Soul Food Sunday, is her first picture book. Because of shipping delays, it won't be officially released until November 16th. So guess what? Kidquake viewers, you will be getting a special sneak preview. Yes! Well, let's go ahead and give a very warm applause for Winsome Bingham. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited, Christina. Thanks, Kidquake and Litquake, for inviting me. Any opportunity I get to speak to kids, I always take advantage because I was a teacher for years and I just love it. I love it because they love me. They think I know everything, which I do. And because of that, I always appreciate just being in their presence. So now let's find out more about me. Back to the slideshow. Graham? So everyone, as you know by now, my name is Winsome Bingham. I am the author of the brand new picture book coming from Abrams Kids called Soul Food Sunday. Next. It will be released November the 16th this year because it's sitting in the ocean in big containers waiting to come and be in your little hands. But for now, you get a sneak peek. Shh, don't tell anyone. This is just for you. Next. So I told you I was an author. That means I wrote the words in the book, the text, but it's illustrated by this amazing illustrator. His name is C.G. Esperanza. You're going to see this vibrant colors. He's amazing. And he just had a book come out this year called Boogie Boogie, y'all. So you should check that out as well. Next. So the first thing is, what inspires me to write? Well, there are four things that inspires me to write, but the first and the biggest thing that inspires me to write is you, children. I write for you. I write because I love you. I write because I wanted you to see yourselves in books. And so I created that. And I started writing because in Virginia, where I was a teacher, I had to write stories for my kids to teach them different concepts. And they love when I made them the star of the story. They'd be like, oh, Miss B, put me in. I want to be in it. And because of that, I'm like, oh, I like this. And so I love doing it. So now I get paid to do it. And I love it. Next. Another thing that inspires me to read, to write, is foods. Like right here, this is my favorite food in the whole world. It's oxtails with rice and beans. It's a Jamaican. Wait, what? Who said that's gross? Who said that? I heard you. Stop it. It's delicious. I love it. It's my favorite food. Next, this is chicken feet. I heard you. Stop it. Chicken feet is really good. It's my other favorite food. You have macaroni and cheese, mangoes, and sweet tea. And I'm telling you a secret. If you follow my career, eventually all of these foods will pop up in my books because they're my favorite. Another thing that inspires me to write are Next slide. Books. Yes, books. When I was a little girl, I've read every single Nancy Drew, every single Hardy Boys, every single Bobsy Twin. And when I came to the United States, I read Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred Taylor. It's still my favorite books of all time. A little black girl have agency on the page. Cassie did her own thing. She loved her family, but she wasn't afraid to stand up. And I just love it. And The Color Purple is my other favorite book by Alice Walker, who's an amazing author and one of my faves. Next. So, how do I get my ideas? Well, it's simple. Everything you see here are in one of my books. I get inspired and I get ideas just by watching family and food, especially a lot of my books are about intergenerational. That means it's grannies or mamas and their children. And this picture right here is from Soul Food Sunday. It's a little boy that's learning to cook and his granny is going to teach him. And that's this picture is from that book. The Vote Here book, I have another book and it's called The Walk, and it's about a community coming together and walking to the polls. So I get excited and ideas just by watching things going on around me. I have another book called Missing Mama about a little girl dealing with a mom with PTSD. And I have PTSD. So talking about it, it's very emotional for me and personal. But I feel like the more people understand, they can appreciate and embrace others. And I have another book about a homeless veteran and a little boy. And that book is called The Park. And so for me, homelessness is an issue that I take interest in because at one point I was a homeless veteran. And the last is a group of military brats. They're really not brats, they're great kids, but I have a chapter book series coming from Ray Craft Books about military children on an army base that just explore, get in trouble, and love each other. So those are my ideas. Next. Now, I hear you. Well, how did you become a writer? How did you become a writer? I became a writer just by writing. You are a writer. The day you started writing your names, your numbers, your sentences, you became a writer. Now I have graduated to an author because a book will be published and my name will be on the front of it. But everyone's a writer, and you're a writer too. What can you write about? What's going to make your writing stand out? This. Next slide. So, to be a writer is a great thing, but the best thing is when you make your stories better. That's why it's important for you to revise. Revision is important. It's like you're practicing for a sport or recital or learning to play an instrument. The more you do it over and over, you get better at it. And that's what you want to do. You're doing something over and over and over, and then you're going to be a master. You're going to be great at it. Revision allows you to do that. Every opportunity you get to go back, look at something you've done, always ask yourself, how can I make this better? And then you try to do just that. Next. So, someone asked me once, well, what's your advice for children or anyone? And I'm going to tell you, it's simple. My advice to you now and to the future you when you're of age and looks like me, almost 50 years old. Yeah, I said it. I'm almost 50. That's a good thing. I hear you. Wow, 50, that's old. You just start living when you hit 40, trust me. But first thing you want to do is follow your heart. That's the first thing. Find your passion. If you love something, you should go all out trying to make sure you enjoy doing it for as long as you can. The next thing is dream beyond the moon. Dream beyond the moon. Think about it. Anything you want, it's there. You're just going to have to work hard to get it because possibilities for you, for your future, it's wider than the sky. Everything you need is in this world. You're like a kid waiting under a tree to pick the fruits. If you work hard, you can get it. My advice to you are those things. Next. And you know what? Since you've been great, I'm going to do you a treat. Now, remember, so many people are anticipating this book, as they should, because the food and the family and the love and the tradition is everything. But here you're going to get a sneak peek. So let me share my screen. Soul Food Sunday, written by me, Winsome Bingham, and illustrated by C.G. Esperanza. On Sundays, everyone gathers at Granny's for soul food. The whole family is here: mamas and papas, aunts and uncles, nieces, nephews, and a whole lot of cousins. We park in the driveway and along the street. Car horns beep, car doors slam, car alarms cluck cluck. The men head to the basement except for Roscoe Ray. He's the grill master. He has a spot at the side of the house. Everything he needs is there: grill, coal, lighter fluid, CD player, chair with an umbrella, and a tiny TV to watch football. Granny goes in the kitchen with Mama and her sisters and straps on an apron. The children sprint to the backyard or to the great room for video games. But today, I don't go to the backyard or the great room. I follow Granny instead. You're a big boy now, Granny says. Time for you to learn. She hands me Grandpa's chef jacket, the one he wore in the army. Put this on, baby, and come with me. Granny drops blocks of cheese on the table: white cheese, yellow cheese, orange cheese, holy cheese. We need a whole lot of cheese. Unless mac and cheese is on the table, it's not Soul Food Sunday. Mmm, I love mac and cheese. Granny grates the cheese in the big blue bowl. Now you hold the grater like this, baby. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Now you try. I grate up and down, up and down, up and down. You got it, baby, says Granny. Now, when you finish, come see me. I grate and grate and grate. My hand hurt, my arm aches, but I don't quit. That's your sneak preview. You can make prediction. Guess what's gonna come next? Tell it to your teacher. Write it down. Thank you, guys.
Oh my goodness, Winsome, what a cliffhanger.
I
Now I've
know,
got to go
right?
get myself some mac and cheese for sure. Oh, thank you so much for sharing your stories, your advice, and that sneak peek that is just going to make all of us want to know what happens at the end of your story.
Yes, yes. I am one of those advocates that really believe that when it comes to cooking, it's not gender specific.
Mhm.
Every child should know how to cook, boy, girl, non binary, everyone, because you have to eat. You have to eat. I feel like everyone should be self sufficient, and food is just that. It allows you to be independent and it
Mhm.
allows you to just know that you can do something amazing.
Absolutely. That is a huge message. And to be honest, one that many of us, for example, I'm just going to say personally, as a kid of color, I did not get that message to be able to eat healthy, well, know how to make food for myself. So this is really powerful.
Yes, thank you.
I'm really curious. In your bio, you talked about that your granny told you stories. What kind of stories did your granny tell you under the mango and coconut trees?
Yeah, I grew up on an island. I grew up on a colorful island: red hills, blue mountains, hummingbirds. I grew up in Jamaica, and my great grandmother and my grand, they're storytellers. They would sit under mango trees. We bring blocks, all these kids in the neighborhood, and she mostly tell us Duppy stories. And Duppy is ghosts. It's on the island we call Duppy's ghosts. But especially the island's tiny. Whenever we have like hurricanes or even a lot of rain. At times we have blackouts. So everything is dark. And it was just the perfect time for her to tell her stories. But she
Mhm.
always found a way to hold us there, to not get a chance to roam, because those stories are so scary. You do not want to move. And she just always tells stories, always tells stories. And I think that's the thing why I like writing for kids. Stories are captivating. They allow you to escape. They allow you to build imagination and just to think about what could be. And that's how powerful stories are and
Mhm.
books.
I love hearing that. Thank you so much. How did you decide to go from being in the military to being a teacher and now being an author?
Well, the being an author, I have to contribute to Marla Frazee. If you don't know her, she is she writes amazing books, right? But the movie Boss Baby is based on her book she wrote. And she kept telling me, "You're gonna send your stuff out. You're gonna send," and I wouldn't. I was like, "Oh, I wrote a whole bunch of stuff just sitting in drawers." And she encouraged me. She's like, "No, you're going to Squeeby. You're going to do this," because I had a lot of stories, and
Mhm.
it started actually from the Department of Veteran Affairs. I had a therapist at the VA that one of her thing was she said to me that we need to go back doing something I love. But I also have a traumatic brain injury that I got when I was in war, when I was in Saudi. And it was because of that, I got hit in the head with the butt of a rifle. But my speech, I had a speech pathologist. Her thing was for me to read picture books. And so I just started reading them and I fell in love with them. And then when I started writing Story for Kids, I already had this idea of how to structure stories because I didn't realize the whole time I was reading all these books, I was learning how to structure stories. And so it all just came full circle, really.
I love that so much. And how wonderful that your first picture story is all about soul food. So, can you tell us a little bit about being a master cook and any recipes that you just love?
Yeah, I love to cook. I enjoy it. I'm cooking this weekend for a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of stuff. But as far as learning to cook, my grandma and my aunt in New York, every summer we would go to New York and my cousin worked and me and my sister would take care of her son. And I would call my aunt Peggy and she would tell me, I'm like, she left this out, we need to cook. And she's like, okay, do this. And once you do it, call me back. So we'll do everything she tell me to do, and then I call her back. She said, "Did you do it? Good. Now do this. And when you're done, call me back." Like she
Yes.
taught me how to cook over the phone because you realize cooking is really following steps, right? It's procedural. You do
Mhm.
this, you do that. It's like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Sometimes it doesn't matter the order. If you put peanut butter on the bread first and then the jelly or jelly, it doesn't matter. It's commutative. You're going to see it and get it for what it is. But also, there are other dishes you need to be very particular, right? You can't just wax a spread of peanut butter. You have to measure, you have to be precise. And that is all about it. Bringing all these beautiful things together and then getting a taste, my mouth is watering. That is just so beautiful and so pleasing to your taste buds. You're like, I'm going to do this the rest of my life. And I think that's truly what cooking is, and being able to share. I think about cultures. My best friend is from Hong Kong, and her and I, we love chicken feet. Yep, I hear you. Chicken feet, girl.
Yes.
That's our thing. And we have a group of friends who are, Jen is Mexican American, and Kim is Black, and they will not eat chicken feet. But I made ham hocks for Jen, and now every time she visits, she's like, "Are you cooking ham hocks?" Like she loves it. But they
Yeah.
also have times when they come together, their own families, and have this big feast and eat. So I think being able on Sundays when we cook, it's not just to us, right? It's
Mhm.
not just homogenous because other cultures come together over food.
Mhm.
Every culture have their own form of soul food. And for me, my Jamaican culture, our soul food is oxtails, and my American culture, Mac and cheese is like my special. It was like, you making mac and I'm coming, you can make mac and cheese. So yeah, I love it. I love to cook, and I love that food is something that binds us all together.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I couldn't say it any better. And I know everybody watching here, our mouths are watering. We want that mac and cheese and also the oxtail. I mean, my people are Filipino. One of my favorite
That
comfort
is
foods,
Filipino.
oxtail soup, kare kare, is like,
Yes,
yes, as soon as you said that, I said, we're with you. We're right here.
yes, yes.
Well, we would love wrapping up here, but we would love to know, anything else that maybe is there other sneak peeks of things that you're writing now or excited to maybe explore eventually?
Yeah, I'm working on a novel. I'm supposed to say that just in case my agent watched this. But I am. It's been a while and she's like, but I want one of the things I want kids to know is simple this. I just took a job as an editor at a publishing house because I believe in stories for all children. I believe, but I also believe children should be exposed to great storytelling early. I don't think they should wait till middle grade or YA to have beautiful stories. And I think that's one of the things that I am ushering in. I'm looking forward to bringing some beautiful stories to children, to the classroom, just and to also just change the face of what books look like and who are reading books. Because there's a book for every child. They don't know it yet,
Yeah.
but there is. And we're going to make sure we tap in and find out what book you like so we can make sure we provide those stories for you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Winsome, for bringing your knowledge, your passion,
Thank
everything that you
you.
shared with us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We cannot wait to read Soul Food Sunday, and we cannot wait to read any of the future books that you have forthcoming. So, students, give me some snaps if you felt like that was incredible, if you feel inspired.
Thank you.
Before we leave, I want to remind you that each of you have a scholar card, and that's a library card special for you if you're an SFUSD student. If you forgot your library card number, just stop by your local library and we will help you out and remind you what it is and what your PIN is. And with that, you can access a ton of books, including, of course, Winsome Bingham's Soul Food Sunday, movies, audiobooks, and so much more. So that is your personal library card. If you're a student here at San Francisco Unified School District, you have a San Francisco Public Library card called the Scholar Card. So we can't wait to see you at one of our libraries soon. And we want to just thank you all for being here today. Let's give Winsome another wave goodbye.